Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. As always, thanks so much for clicking on this video and chilling out here as we talk about some movie news. So yesterday, one of the most important trailers of the year finally launched online, and that was the Fantastic Four First Steps. There's quite a lot riding on this movie. After the poor reception of the other Fantastic Four movies, people were kind of sour on this franchise of the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, but it looks like Marvel has done a great representation of the characters. Yesterday on the channel, I gave my first initial thoughts and reactions after the trailer played, and I have to say, the trailer overall, it did great things for me. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The action looked great. The costume looked great. The design of the Thing was pretty cool. Seeing our first look at Galactus. I mean, there was everything in there that you could want from a Fantastic Four trailer. And the only thing that didn't quite work for me, the Thing's voice didn't quite match my expectations. I expected more of a darker, booming voice to the Thing. In him having kind of a normal voice, that kind of threw me off a little bit. But that's in no means a damper on the trailer or the movie. It hasn't lowered my expectations for anything. But it's just one little nitpick that I had. But anyway, guys, with that down, what we're going to do, we're going to jump into this article and break down 10 points from the trailer, get into more details, and like I say, have a discussion about those things that happened within the Fantastic Four trailer. So this comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. The Fantastic Four First Steps trailer, 10 biggest reveals, Easter eggs, spoilers, and comic references. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty here, if you like. So starting off with this, number 10. That's not Earth 616. So I've seen a lot of people talk about this online. You know, how does this exactly fit in with what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all this kind of stuff? But a lot of people don't seem to realize that this is a different, it's a different universe. It's not the same universe as what's taking place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So at some point, they're going to cross over from this kind of pocket universe where the Fantastic Four is into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How that's going to happen, we'll have to wait and see in the film. So right from the start, it's made clear that this is not the sacred timeline. The retro 1960s inspired New York City is dominated by unrecognizable skyscrapers and, crucially, the Baxter Building. There was speculation that the team would make Avengers Tower their home in the MCU, and while this could still happen, we're hoping this building is added to the main timeline's skyline because it's far cooler than what Tony Stark built all those years ago. Yeah, I mean, that great shot of the Baxter Building with the big 4 on it, I mean, just seeing the Baxter Building, I mean, it's just an iconic thing to the Fantastic Four franchise, and just seeing it in the trailer, it was great to see, and I love the retro futuristic theme as well. So, number 9, moving on to this, Herbie, this cute little robot. I would love to have one of these robots, they're so cool. So much has been said about who is voicing the robot Herbie in the Fantastic Four First Steps, but short of major evolution, this trailer makes it clear that he has no voice. We're already in love with the clunky looking assistant to Marvel's first family, and hope or expect to get at least a couple of standout moments, probably a lot of merchandise. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these cute little characters, isn't it? You know, kind of like in Grogu in The Mandalorian. They make these cute characters over at Disney because they know that they sell a lot of merchandise, t-shirts, dolls, all that kind of stuff, guys. And you know that he's going to give us some really great comedic moments as well within the movie. That's what I'm expecting from the character. So that's number 9, Herbie. So moving on to number 8, the origin story. So, as Reed Richards breaks down the abilities of each team member, we catch a glimpse of what could be the moment Sue Storm gains her incredibly invisibility powers. However, the way that Reed is talking makes us think that they might be heading back into outer space, and it could be that she's being affected by cosmic rays which created the team. Either way, we expect their backstory to be presented mostly through news reports. Yeah, I think they've already confirmed that this isn't going into the origin story, again, of the Fantastic Four, but it's going to be referenced to, it's going to be, you know, kind of alluded to throughout the movie. And I think by this point, you know, 99% of the audience know the origin story of the Fantastic Four. But I expect we could get a minor flashback, some references in newspapers and TV reports and stuff like that. But I'm sure they will kind of allude to it ever so slightly. So moving on to number 7, a comic accurate Thing. Yeah, this is one of the best things about the trailer. I love the Thing. I think he looks great. He looks like he's ripped right out the comic book. And as a fan of the character, I mean, what more could you want than an accurate comic book kind of style design like this? So there are moments in this trailer where the Thing looks a little rough around the edges. Rough around the edges, because he's a rock. But the Fantastic Four First Steps isn't set to be released for a good 5 months or so, meaning there's plenty of time to fix any possible imperfections. Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, at the end of the day, you're like building a CGI human out of rocks. I mean, and you're putting that into a movie. I mean, it's gonna look goofy. It's gonna look ridiculous. It's gonna have that uncanny valley CGI strange quality to it. A human built out of rocks. It's never gonna look, I'm not sure what the word is. It's never gonna look absolutely amazing, because the human body being built out of rocks just is something that doesn't compute with the human brain all that much. But I think they've done a pretty fantastic job with, you know, what they've done so far. So, you know, more importantly, Ben Grimm looks like he stepped straight out of the comics, like I was already saying. His size is accurate to the source material. He's never been a Hulk-like giant, and that scene with the hat and the trench coat alone should be worth the price of admission. Yeah, I mean, just seeing him in this kind of 1940s, 1950s style trench coat with the do they call it a fedora? With the hat. I mean, he looks on point. He looks pretty cool. So, moving on to number 6, Flame On. Johnny Storm, man, one of the coolest characters. We've seen the Human Torch in action as recently as Deadpool and Wolverine, where Chris Evans reprised his role as Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four movies released in the mid-2000s. This variant, however, is played by Joseph Quinn. Joseph Quinn is a fantastic actor. They really nailed that casting there, I think. The hot-headed hero looks terrific in action, and we're particularly intrigued by the scene, which shows him flying up into the upper atmosphere before the lack of oxygen presumably robs him of his powers. Can he survive the fall? So yeah, what exactly is going to happen here? And why is he flying up into the atmosphere? I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but I think someone's going to have to save him. Who that's going to be, we'll have to wait and see. So moving on to number 5, The End of the World. This is easily the most ominous shot in the trailer. Obviously, we've got this city skyline here with all these kind of like meteors kind of exploding over the top of it. Trailer as Marvel's first family watches debris fall from the sky is simply the arrival of Galactus, or an indication that the end is nigh for their reality. Heck, this may even be an incursion. We know the heroes are destined to be part of the Avengers' Doomsday, and there has to be an explanation for what brings them to Earth 616. Either Doctor Doom hails from their reality, they're returning home, or left with no other choice than to leave their home. Again, seeing them cross over into the sacred timeline, I mean, how is this going to be explained? How is it going to happen? Ultimately, what's going to be the MacGuffin that transfers them over to our Marvel sacred timeline? That's going to be one of the most interesting parts. So, the fantastic car. Yeah, I love this, man. The design of these vehicles, like the rocket ship, the car, the buildings, and this retro-futuristic style, man. I love this kind of art decor kind of style. It looks great. Yes, this is the fantastic car, and this version does indeed appear to be a regular car on the surface, which transforms into a flying vehicle. And we know it's a flying vehicle. We've seen the behind-the-scenes shots when they were actually making the film, and we saw part of the car floating. I think it was at like a Comic-Con event where they released a teaser trailer, and they had a big balloon. It was like a big balloon that they remotely controlled, and it was flying across the room. I remember seeing the video of it online. It was pretty damn cool. Is there room for the Thing? It's hard to tell, though we imagine a flashier version will eventually follow. This Reality's Mr. Fantastic is obviously a genius, but he only has equipment from the 1960s to work with. Something tells us that Earth 616 arrival will be an eye-opening experience for the inventor and superhero. Could you imagine you're like the world's smartest man in the 1960s and you're dealing with 1960s technology, then all of a sudden you're thrust into the future, into the year 2025 or whatever the year is in the sacred timeline, and you have all this up-to-date modern technology in which to use your genius. Man, that would be so mind-trippingly crazy. And yeah, they make a good point here. I would love to see what happens with that. Who is John Malkovich playing? Of all the characters Marvel Studio could have shown in this teaser trailer, it's interesting that they chose John Malkovich as mystery character. Who is he playing? Rumor has it that being John Malkovich star is Ivan Kragoff, aka Red Ghost. In the comics, he's fascinated by cosmic rays and desperate to replicate the experiment which created the Fantastic Four. It's using those which will land him with an army of super apes. How much of that will make the cut here is hard to say. I have to say, I have no recollection of this character. Will land him with an army of super apes. That's quite interesting. So Fantastic Four and like Planet of the Apes kind of crossing over. That sounds kind of insane, but I'm here for it. Moving on to number 2, one of the most exciting parts of the trailer, guys, Galactus. So, the Eater of Worlds has arrived. Galactus' massive shadow looms over New York City, and we catch a glimpse of the villain from behind as he takes in the sights, the Statue of Liberty in the distance. From what little was shown here, Galactus looks very ancient and cosmic. Is he being wasted with an appearance in the team's first movie? Based on how long we've been waiting to see him properly portrayed on screen, it's difficult to complain about the MCU debut here. Yeah, it does feel like one of those larger-than-life characters that should be built up to in subsequent movies. I do get what he's saying here, but at the same time, we don't know how much of this movie he's going to be in. Is he going to be in the movie for, 20 seconds, 30 seconds? Is he going to be in half of the movie? We really don't know at this point. But seeing Galactus, man, it's just the most insane character to see in live action. Because literally in some renditions in the comic, he's like the size of a planet. I mean, how do you display that in live action? But obviously he can manipulate his size. So obviously he's made himself smaller here. And then moving on to finally this, number one, the costumes. We're not sure exactly what's happening here, a promotional appearance, but the imagery is a nod to the iconic appearance from the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. As Easter eggs go, that's pretty darn cool. I mean, having an Easter egg of the Beatles, I mean, that's wicked. I'm expecting Beatles music if they've got references to the Beatles. As for the costumes themselves, they're heavily inspired by the comic books and perhaps a little more basic than some fans would like. They fit into the 1960s aesthetic, though, and are bound to receive an upgrade in Avengers Doomsday. Yeah, obviously, when they cross over into the Sacred Timeline, they're going to get an upgrade to pretty much everything, I would imagine. Their costumes, their gadgets, all that good stuff. But guys, that's kind of a breakdown of the trailer there. I know that the trailer came out yesterday, so it's been sort of like 24 hours now. But yesterday I had other things to do, so unfortunately I couldn't get this video out yesterday, so I do apologize. But yeah, I mean, I'm really, really excited. There's not much stuff here that's negative that I have anything bad to say about. I've liked pretty much everything that I've seen here, but it's going to be interesting to see how they cross over into the Sacred Timeline. How is that going to happen? What's the MacGuffin? What's the story? And what's going to go on with Galactus? Is Galactus going to get pulled through into the Sacred Timeline as well? Or I guess Galactus Galactus, as his base powers, can he traverse multiverses? Galactus, I'm not sure exactly if he can do that, but it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, if he can do that in comics, he may not be able to do that here in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as sometimes the comics and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are slightly different, and I'm not mega familiar with all of Galactus's powers, so I do apologize. But yeah, guys, that's where we are. 10 of the biggest kind of breakdown points of the Fantastic Four trailer. Jump into the comment section below and let me know what you thought of this trailer. Did you think it looked good? Do you think it looked bad? Do you think it looked mid? And what stood out to you the most in the trailer as well? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. As always, guys, make sure you hit the like button and consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't already. It goes a long way to supporting the content, so I'd really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you in the next video.